What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Daron Realtoy Hooters Air 737 Airport Playset. So, this video is going to be one of my last video remakes, which is just where I remake some of my older videos to give a more in-depth review. So, the Hooters Air 737 is definitely one of the most unique Realtoys one of the most unique models that Realtoy has made, simply just because of the airline. So, in case any of you didn't know, Hooters Air is, while this seems like a fictional model, Hooters Air was actually a real airline that operated from 2003 to 2006 and was based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And the airline had a fleet of 7 aircraft and had 17 destinations from the time that it operated. In the fleet, the airline had aircraft consisting of 2 737-200s, 4 737-300s, and 1 757-200. So the overall history behind Hooters Air is that Hooters, which is a restaurant company located in the US, ended up getting a lot of money in the early 2000s and thought it was a good idea to start an airline, which probably sounded like a good idea to them and on paper, but in execution, it did not end up turning out too good because in 2006, just 3 years after the airline had started, they ended up having to shut down the airline because they were running out of money. Because I'm not sure if they really thought about it, but obviously operating an airline does cost a lot of money, especially when you have 7 aircraft that you have to fill up with fuel every time you gotta fly somewhere to 17 different destinations. So with that being said, I'm gonna start off with the review of the box. So up at the top, there's the Hooters Air logo and the nice big bold lettering, and I'm pretty sure that the Hooters logo, which is the same logo that is used today, is kind of in a balloon kind of font, kind of you can tell based off of the lettering. And then, which is just the Hooters logo, and then they put Air at the end of it. And then the Hooters Air Hootie the Owl with Airport Playset beside of it. And then the entire bottom portion of the box is in the really nice Hooters Air orange coloring with the blue stripe that kind of goes around the top of it. And then down at the bottom, in the bottom left corner, there is the Hooters official licensed product with the limited partnership on it. So I kind of think this kind of gives some evidence that, or kind of, I don't know evidence, but that Hooters definitely asked Daron to produce this model, especially since there were 2 Gemini Jets models that were made, a 737-200 and the 757 that were made of the Hooters Air aircraft. And there also was a Daron Skymarks model that was produced at the time as well. So I think since Hooters had a lot of money when they had started the airline, they decided to go ahead and make some models of it. And I really like the Hooters Airport playset. I think it was a really good idea for them to have Daron produce it because it is a really nice playset and actually is actually one of my top 3 favorite Daron Realtoy models. Not because of being the Hooters in general, in case some of you know what that means, I'm not going to get into that, but really just because just seeing it here, it's a really nicely detailed box. It has so much detail on the plane, and it's actually, I think it's the only model that Realtoy has made that is an orange livery for any Daron Realtoy model of any aircraft from the time that they were making them. And the box is really detailed, and with the customized signs in it too, as well as the vehicles. Just the overall whole playset in general is just a really nicely designed model, and what just makes it one of my favorites. And also because it was a restaurant brand that operated the airline, and was the only airline like it ever in pretty much in history. So the fact that Realtoy made this model in general just makes it one of my favorites, because of the design and the overall history behind it. So also at the bottom, die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. And then also on the side is the Hooters Air logo displayed again with Hootie the Owl up on the top right there. And then my favorite part of the box is the box art image on the back. I think usually I'm not a big fan of orange, but I really like the orange color that they used in the Hooters logo. It's not too bright and in your face, but it still has a lot of nice color in it and just more of a simple orange color. And I do really like it. Like I said, another reason why it's one of my favorite models. And the box art image is really nicely displayed, and how the image actually takes up most of the box, because usually the images seem like they're kind of condensed, but this one, the plane covers up most of the box, as well as the logo and the airline logo, and really nice big lettering. And overall, it's really nicely, it was really nicely designed by Daron. And as you can see, the Hooters Air logo up at the top with Hootie the Owl, right there again with the airport playset, die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. And then the 737-300 aircraft displayed there with Hootie the Owl on the tail. And then the bus with the catering truck, the stair truck, and then the taxi. And then with the high levels of hydrogen peroxide in the air. And then the other two signs located there. And the Daron logo on the bottom left corner. And then the Hooters Air registered trademark logo right there on the bottom. So once again, I really like the box art image that is displayed on this, and overall the design of the box. What I was kind of thinking to myself before starting this video is that I definitely think the airline now, especially 20 years later, since not many people probably know much about Hooters Air, it's kind of just drifted off from people really knowing much about it, since it wasn't a big one to begin with, and it was based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Only had 7 aircraft with 17 destinations. It was not a major airline. But I think one of the main reasons why this airline might still be known by most people that know about it is simply because of the models that were made. Since they had the Daron, the airport playset by Daron, and then the Daron Skymax model with the Gemini jets, I feel like people that have those models, or at least know of those models, probably know of the airline's existence just because of that. So, but back some information about the model in general. So, the model was actually distributed only and sold only in Hooters restaurants. So, in case you don't know, Hooters, I think all the restaurants have a little shop located in one of the corners of the restaurants, pretty much where you walk in. There's a shop located right next to it, which is most likely where they had sold this. I'm not sure if it was in like every restaurant or only a few, but if this model was made for 2 years and if it was sold in most restaurants, it probably wasn't a rare model at the time, and it was pretty accessible as long as you went to one of the restaurants. I'm not sure if it might have been sold online, but there's a possibility it might have been. But that part I don't really know about, but other than that, yeah, so like usual, I will pause the video real quick and take out the plane. So here is the Hooters Air 737 airport playset. So like usual, starting off with the front of the plane. So up at the front, there are the usual 737 cockpit windows with the 737 eyebrow windows displayed above the cockpit windows right there. And then starting off at the front is the really nice navy blue stripe that goes along the entire middle portion of the fuselage and along up towards the tail where Hootie the Owl is. And then there is a really nice bright, smooth orange coloring on the undercarriage for the Hooters logo, as well as on the engines where the Hooters logo is displayed again. And then in nice big bold lettering is the Hooters Air logo displayed in the middle portion of the fuselage. And then on the back towards the tail, there is Hootie the Owl displayed right there in the center, kind of overlaying the blue and orange stripe that goes along from the back portion of the rear of the plane up towards along the back side of the tail. And then same thing on both sides. And one thing that in particular about the model that I had gotten is that when I actually got this model, I had gotten it off of eBay. I think it was in 2020 or 2021. I had gotten it off of eBay, and when I actually had purchased it, there was Sharpie writing that was kind of colored in on the engines. So I tried using rubbing alcohol to get rid of it, and of course that was before I realized that maybe when the planes are painted that the undercarriage is the same color as what is underneath the engines when the model is being produced, and the paint is being put on the undercarriage when the model is being painted. So yeah, that's when I figured out that the wings usually are the same color that the undercarriage are whenever the models are produced, because of course when I use rubbing alcohol and any kind of paint on an aircraft does not do good. It does work if you're trying to remove like simple smudge marks on like the white portion of the fuselage, because the white part is the main part of the plane is pretty much normal, and that will come off with rubbing alcohol. But if you do use that on the wings, obviously it's going to take off the silver portion, so I ended up taking off a lot. And I had to learn that the hard way, and I ended up having to repaint them. The color pretty much does match exactly the same. I think the only thing that you can tell apart is really just based off of having the matte finish. You can kind of see some of the paint marks on it, but overall, the model still looks exactly the same as it was originally before I had done that to the plane by accident, and the Sharpie was put on it. Pretty much the Sharpie was just coloring the flaps, but it didn't really end up looking too good, so I want to get rid of it. But yeah, so note to that, if you want to take off smudge marks or Sharpie or anything, be careful if you're going to use rubbing alcohol on that, because it does not have a good outcome if you try using that on the specific paint of the aircraft. So, pretty much one of the only things about this model that was kind of ended up happening when I had gotten it. That, as well as one of the signs was missing, and actually the triangle sign here with the high levels of hydrogen peroxide in the air. This sign I actually had to custom make the sticker. My dad works with designing decals and stuff, and he was able to make a replica of the sticker to just put on top of it. It pretty much is it really is exactly the same as the one that was originally on it. Just when this one came, it was from a different playset and it had the usual yellow triangle with the plane in the middle. And then I don't have it displayed here with the rest of the playset, but I did have to use a different arrivals and departures, the green square sign. I had to use that from a different playset because this one did not come with it when I originally purchased it. But other than that, pretty much is the whole review for the plane. So once again, this is such a really nice model, and I think most of you can tell why it's one of my favorites. I mean, since it has so much detail on the model, if you do see it, I do highly suggest getting it. And this model does seem like it's an extremely rare model, but I would say it's probably as rare as the Song 757 or TED A320 would be, as I did in my last video of the TED A320. You can usually find one listed on eBay a few times every year, as long as you're looking for it at the right time, and if you're looking for it constantly, you should be able to find one. Usually they are listed for relatively high prices. I ended up getting this model for around 60 bucks when I had gotten it off of eBay, which that is relatively on the higher range for this model, but if you do really want it, which it is such a nice model, if you do really want it, then it definitely is worth getting it. So, well, moving on from the plane to the first vehicle. So, we're starting off with the taxi car. So, this one is actually one of the only taxis that is like this. In case any of you in case anyone noticed the difference in some of the taxis, this one is a lot different than the other ones. Most of the other ones have some sort of wing on the back, and the car is actually usually different. This one has a slightly different design to it and different shape of it than most of the other ones. The whole car is painted in the nice Hooters orange coloring with the Hooters Air displayed on the sides, on the roof, and yeah, pretty much just on the sides and the roof. Overall, it's a really nice vehicle displayed, and it's actually my favorite vehicle in there, just because I really do like the design of it. And then on the stair truck, so this one does have the same exact designs that the plane has, with the nice blue coloring, that the nice blue stripe that goes along with the space between the white, between that and the orange, and then with the Hooters Air logo displayed on the bottom portions of the vehicle, and then with the blue and orange stripe going up the top as well. Another really nicely designed vehicle for this playset. And then there is the catering truck, which kind of has the same exact design pattern in the front with the blue stripe and then the orange on the bottom part of the vehicle. And then with the Hooters Air sticker displayed in the orange on the side there as well. And then for the bus, which also has the same design pattern on the side with the blue stripe and then the Hooters Air logo displayed there, and then the orange bottom portion of the coloring on the bus. So, and then moving on to the signs, which is probably one of the most interesting parts of this playset. So, like I mentioned before, with the high levels of hydrogen peroxide in the air, one of my dad's coworkers actually designed this, did a really good job of designing this and printing it out. Pretty much looks exactly the same as what it originally was. I was pretty disappointed when I got on it and it didn't come with it, so I'm really glad that she was able to redesign this, and I actually do have a couple extras available in case this one ever comes off and I need to replace it. So it still looks exactly like what it originally was that came with the playset. And then moving on to the two yellow square signs. So the first one right here, I'm not gonna get, in case you know what this means, I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, here's the bumps sign, which if you know what Hooters means, then I'm sure you probably could tell what this is. I'm not going to get into that because this channel is kid-friendly, and I'm not going to get into all of the major details. And then on the other side with the caution Hooters play sign, which these two custom signs, I do like whenever Realtoy has custom signs put into their playsets because it just adds more character to it and definitely makes the playset a lot better. So that is pretty much all for today's video. So thank you everyone for watching, and please leave a like and remember to subscribe so you don't miss any future upcoming videos. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.